How we doing, guys? The Luke Gamer over here, and I got the full collection of The Witcher 3 from the pop vinyls all the way to the statues. I wanted just to show you guys all of these bad boys over here and compare the pop vinyls to the statues in case you guys are wondering, is it a massive difference? And I'll show you guys, it definitely is. Hell yeah. First of all, first person I'll get over here is Triss. Of course, we gotta love some Triss. You know, she's looking all lovely with the lovely freckles on top. Let me just compare the Triss on the lovely statue over here with the pop vinyl. One thing I have noticed is that the costume is pretty similar, but of course we can't really compare the detail. This is 20 and this is 50 bucks over here. But I wanted just to show you guys, you know, the difference in terms of quality and what to expect in case you guys want to just buy, you know, this, which is 30 bucks more than this bad boy here. Personally, of course, I would buy the statue, but this is not bad either, guys. Having the fact that, you know, there is something in the hand there, and they did show a lot of emphasis on the hair texture itself, and the fact that, you know, it also includes a stand, which is really awesome in case, you know, you guys are wondering, will this balance on my table? But it actually will. And of course, the hair plugs at the back. Same thing, we also have that too. The hair detailed there, but of course, we got more strands of the hair compared to the pop vinyl. And of course, you know, we got lovely detail on her attire. In this, of course, not really much detail, just more plain, because it is a pop vinyl after all. And the lovely detail on her, you know, the bottom part of her pants and her boots over there. And this is just completely different color. They didn't really emphasize on that, but just made it more clean and pure and, you know, not just too crazy, especially the fact that it's only just $20. But yeah, that's the difference between these two, in case you guys are wondering. Of course, this bad boy is the winner. Next, who do we want to show next? Let's check out the King Eridan. So I got one of my favorite pop vinyls actually. I reckon they did a pretty good job on this. You know, the fact that they put a lot of emphasis on the armor plating over there, and even, you know, this part that does move, which is really cool, and is really cool sword over there. Loving it. And the fact that, you know, even the face, you know, the horns on top, which is pretty hot, and even the back over there, which is pretty cool. I love the way that they did that. But looking at, of course, comparing it to the statue over there, we do see some similarities, but of course, there's more detail on the statue, which is expected, of course. But, you know, this detail, this lovely cape over here, which the pop vinyl doesn't have, unfortunately. Well, it does, but it's just too small. You know, you can barely notice it, but with this bad boy, it's pretty visible. Of course, it is smaller, but I'll just show you guys, you know, the difference in detail. And most importantly, you know, the fact that this is worth that $50 for me. The fact that these things move more than this one, which is more of a one-piece sort of feel. But with these bad boys here, they actually all move together, which is really cool. I'm loving it. And looking at the back here, we get that really nice, cool cape that we get. And at the back of this bad boy, we still get it. But as you can tell, it doesn't even move. But with this, it moves. So, of course, you know, paying 30 bucks more is obviously worth a bigger piece and more detail, but you know, I'm loving the fact that they even made that look dirty, unlike what this bad boy looks nice and clean. But yeah, man, that's King Eridan over there, all done. Let's just do some more comparison over here. I've got the amazing Yennefer, the beautiful Yennefer that Geralt is so mad about. I really like this detail of this, guys. I really think they put a lot of emphasis on this pop vinyl, in my opinion. You know, compared to the other ones per se, because the other ones for me felt like they could have done a bit better comparing, you know, Yennefer to Triss over here. I reckon they did a really good job with Yennefer, because I'm loving the way they put even the eyeshadow on top there, and you know, the detail, especially in her attire. Like, look at that. Like, I reckon that's a really good job over there, you know. So for me, I really think Yennefer was done really well, really well. And now let me show you guys the Yennefer statue over here. Let me just move that bad boy back, but check this out. Like, for me personally, you could tell the similarities. Of course, it is massive on this bad boy, but you could tell that, you know, the consistency in makeup over there is good. And even the hair, very consistent as well. And even, you know, this part of her armor here is very identical to this part here. So I reckon they did a really good job on that. And I'm loving, you know, the way the whites look very white. And even on, you know, on the pop vinyl, same thing. Whites look very white. I'm loving that too. And even, you know, the detail of her attire, same thing, you know, it's pretty similar. Of course, it's more dark on this because of the textures and the colors, but they have the same sort of, you know, idea, especially with both. And, you know, even the back over there, you know, the hair, I'm loving the detail of the hair. Yeah, same as this bad boy here. I kind of feel this hair is better than that, in my opinion, because of the more waves. But, you know, even the boots, very similar. Of course, there's more detail on this one here, especially with the clips. Unlike with this one, yeah, you do see the clips, but you really need to look really close. But with these, yeah, you could just see the clips over there. Of course, it's smaller, but I just wanted to show you guys the similarities. And of course, you get the white wolf sort of background there, and you don't get the same on the other one. But that's Yennefer, fellas, you know, of course. But now let me show you Siri, the beautiful Siri, you know, the amazing, strong, amazing powered Siri. Personally, of course, Siri was way stronger than Geralt because she has the elder blood, but let's not get into that discussion, of course. I love the scar on her face. They did a really good job with that. And even, you know, putting a bit of darker makeup on the face over there, which is pretty hot. And I'm loving her sword there. Pretty cool. Her attire looks pretty on point. That's exactly what she wore in the game. But I want to just compare that to the other Siri. Loving the detail at the back there too. But now let's check out this Siri over here. Let's see if this Siri is better than the other one. And of course it is. You know, when you actually compare, you know, the fact that they put a lot of emphasis on her eyes over there, the fact that, you know, the green, love it, you know, and, you know, the detail of her attire. Of course it'll be more, it's more expensive, but I wanted to show you guys, you know, the difference, and, you know, just to see how well they did of a job to make sure the two actually look alike. And yes, this scar on her face, which is perfect. I like with this one, it's all the way at the bottom here, but should have been, I would say, around that sort of direction there, but they did a really good job on that. And even the darker makeup on her eyes, the hair texture, the hair feel looks pretty hot as well. I'm loving that too. So they did a really good job with that. And just, you know, moving down to her attire over here, looks pretty well done. Like, I can't really complain about it. The fact that, you know, they put a lot of emphasis on all the weapons where those belong to, and even, you know, the sword that actually goes inside there, really well done. Even looks like you could still put the sword in there too. Really well done too. And I'm loving her pouch there. Done really well. They also have a pouch there as well, but they just made it look a bit more flat. But with this, made it look a bit more rounded with a bit more texture. And of course, Siri's lovely ass. And then, you know, her lovely boots over there, which is really beautiful. I love the way they did that really well. But looking at the boots on this one, of course, these ones look more in detail. Of course, it's bigger, what you expect. But of course, the white wolf at the bottom. And that's Siri for you fellas. Leaving the best for last over here. Geralt of Rivia, of course. We gotta love the Rivia of Rivia. The, you know, the big daddy of the house, of course, Geralt. He has a scar on his head, lots of emphasis, and even the scar on his eye. The mustache done very well as well. Loving it. And of course, his attire is done really well there too. And even the blade looking good. Looking at the back, yep, of course, they did not forget about the crossbow, which is good to see. And even at the back there, you know, his other sword, which is a very good element to actually have. Some people may have forgotten about that. And of course, the band that attaches to his hair. Let's see Geralt over here as well. Lovely detail. You gotta love the way this made it. It looks exactly like him, guys. You can't even, you know, get, you know, sidetracked. But I'm loving the way the eyes look, you know, that really nice, you know, yellow tinge to it. I wish the pop vinyls actually did that and made the eyes look more realistic, but they just make them more round. I guess that's the whole reason of having a pop vinyl, I guess. But, you know, I'm loving the detail of the sword over here, looking really good. And even the lovely, you know, feel on this armor here, really beautifully done. Pretty similar to this bad boy here, but man, this is really well done as well. You gotta love the way that sword looks, and the fact that he's drawing out his sword, looking so realistic. Unlike with this bad boy, it's already out. And look at that, that looks really hot. Looking at the attire over here, really well done. Loving the detail at the back there. This is just more, I would say, pasted at the back, but of course we can't compare from 30 to 50. So, you know, look at that detail there too at the bottom. But yeah, fellas, just thought I'll show you guys, you know, the Witcher 3 collection that I have in my crib over here with the pop vinyls, in case you guys are wondering, should I get this collection? Is it worth it? Question is, if you guys love the Witcher series, if you guys are like junkies like me that just love cool loot, if you guys are in love with these characters like I am, Triss, Yennefer, Geralt, and all these bad boys here, then I would definitely pick these boys up. All these pop vinyls are 20 bucks each. All of these statues here are 50 bucks each. But man, I ain't advertising no one. I'm just telling you guys whether it's worth it or not. I really think it is. But thanks again, fellas, for watching my video. I am the Loot Gamer after all. All I show is loot, loot, and loot. Thanks for watching and have a good night. Later.